Hi everybody, how's it going? I'm invisible right now. Hang on, let me... I think this is an error that, here we go. There we go, now I'm visible. Yeah, that happens sometimes when I shift into human form and then back into rice form. I become invisible for a brief period. It's fine though, nothing to worry about. I'm perfectly healthy, I am ready to get going. Today we're going to be doing pixel art. It's been a while since we last did one of these. Yeah, I like doing pixel art. I'm interested in getting better at pixel art, but it's like one of those things where it's just like a different medium, essentially. It's not just that, like, I don't know how to put it. It's like, the basis of what I do is there, but the kind of difference lies in the execution, I think. So it's all the same basic principles, you know, there's color, there's like the idea of perspective and everything. That also applies to pixel art. However, there are some things that aren't universal, such as, for example, the ability to, like, render it. So, as a kind of little practice that I wanted to try and do to get better at that, particularly in making, like, humanoids, is that I wanted to try out practicing making a little pixel art sprite of myself. Let me bring us over to the working screen so I can show you guys what I mean. Okay. I'm also invisible here. Hang on, let me just step into the green screen here. Ah, very good. Okay. The freaking tiny Barbados is still there. You can go now, man. We're done with you. Now, okay, let me open up the browser window, so I think that'll be the easiest way to do this. Okay, so these are sprites from the Game Boy Color era Pokemon games. Now, three things that I notice about a lot of these is that, one, all of them have 4 colors to their name. So you can see here, so like, for example, this fisherman guy. At least I think that's a fisherman. I don't know what he's holding there, exactly. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be like... I think it's just like takeout. I don't think that's a fisherman. I just think that's a dude in overalls with takeout. Might be some kind of cage or something? A backpack? The possibilities are endless, truly. In any case, what I'm noticing about a lot of these is that they have 4 colors to them, and most often they have like a lot of, you know, if one of the colors isn't their clothing. So, for example, contrast the monk here with this like Boy Scout. The monk has a lot of black clothing, which is distinguished by the little bit of dithering here on the sleeves, whereas the little guy here has like, you know, his outfit is mostly green and doesn't really have any shading. So that's something that I'm noticing, that if it's like, so it's got white, black, and 2 colors, one of them usually being like a skin color. You can see that for a lot of these. So these 3 in the middle here kind of just have different values of kind of this rust orange, which is interesting. I really like this like fire breather guy. I really like the shape of this man. Yeah, you can also see that it's got like little flecks of the color on the side here. I love looking at like older pixel art like this because you can really see how they made the most of what they had. Because nowadays, right, you can have pixel art games with like limitless color palettes, limitless basically everything. You know, sometimes a pixel art game actually takes more computer power to run than an older 3D game, which is crazy. And I think it's really cool, but, you know, back then, they had, like, only a limited number of colors to work with, and a limited amount of space to convey a certain idea. And that's why I really like older sprites like this. Oh my god, that browser window is tiny. Your poor eyes. Hang on, let me scale that up a little bit. But yeah, you can see here that that's kind of a general rule across all of these, that, like, you know, you've got white, you've got black, and you've got the 2 other colors, one of them usually being the skin tone. Yeah, it was different for, like, the Game Boy, which just had, like, black, gray, and white. You know, just, like, different values thereof. Yeah, like, even this kind of nerd here, you can see that he doesn't have particularly colorful clothes, so they use the extra color for his pants to create a little bit of shading with that. So I think that's kind of like the idea that we're going to try to go with, you know, just like a... I really like this one with like the dad and the little with the little baby boy with Pikachu clothes. I think that's really cute. All right. So yeah, I think that's kind of the main goal for today, is to just kind of try and do something with this style. All right, so let's get on over to a sprite and see what we can whip up. You know, assuming we can... Oh, here we go. There we go. That took a minute to open up, but that's fine. Okay. So here we have a... I forgot how big this canvas was. 300 by 300. I remember. Okay. So I think the best thing to do right now is to actually make a small outline of the model, and then try to approach it like we do with a normal illustration piece. We'll just approach it like a normal illustration piece. So yeah, we can decide on the color palette in just a little bit. Hey, Toast, how you doing? Yeah, so I think for the color palette, what we can do here is, obviously we're gonna need white for my head. Whoop. Yeah, we're gonna need white for my head. Oh, that is really tiny. I think I may have made the canvas too big, unfortunately. Hang on, let me try something else. How about 100 by 100? How big is 1 pixel there? That's better, that's better. Still a little big though, so let's go, what? 70 by 70? Okay, yeah, that might be too small, so let's call it maybe an even 80. 80 by 80, there we go. Maybe 100 by 100 after all. I'm trying to approximate, I'm trying to guesstimate the size based on the pixel ratio. There's probably a better way to do this, but honestly, I don't really mind kind of flailing around like this for a little while longer. It builds character, it's good for you. Don't say it. Yeah, I think that should be good. Anyway, I was talking about the color palette here. So, okay, we're gonna need the white and the black for this style. And then the colors in between are probably going to be green and... I mean, we definitely need green for my hoodie. But I'm not sure what the other color should be, because we can do pink for the little patch on my middle here. Yeah, I think that's kind of what it's gonna have to be. Yeah, green and pink. I don't know. Is this pink? I like to think of it's more like a magenta. Magentas usually lean towards purple, though. It is just kind of pinkish, huh? Some manner of pink. There we go. Okay. From there, what I want to try and do is go back to using black. Or actually, no, we can use one of these lesser pinks. Lesser pinks, yeah. Yeah, this is the greater pink. These are the lesser pinks, which are servants to it. Okay, so I'm gonna try and figure out okay, maybe add a layer here. That is the layer button, right? No, wait, that's the onion skin button. I think it's Shift N for a new layer. Yeah, there we go. Okay. A sprite has always made me a little uncomfortable because it takes me a minute to remember both the shortcuts and the fact that I remember very specifically trying to rework the shortcuts so that they more closely mirrored what do you call Clip Studio Paint. Yeah, I distinctly remember doing that at one stream. I think it might have been the stream where I drew Bunny's character for what do you call art fight. I think that might have been the one where I changed everything. I don't really remember though. It feels like an eternity ago. Okay. Yeah. So how about I was at work when this happened, but I've heard tell that there's a Nintendo Direct that's happened. But more importantly, I heard that there was a Rune Factory 3 re-release that's happening, and I am very excited for that because I was I really wanted to play Rune Factory back when it was still like a relevant game. Like, I don't think they've made any new Rune Factories. I'm sure that somebody's made like a, what do you call, one of those spiritual successors to Rune Factory. I always thought the concept of like RPG fantasy with like farming sim was an odd but interesting combination. This is one hell of a power stance, by the way, that I'm giving myself. I look like Goku. I'm post like baby Goku. Stance the hell up. We can just kind of go for this pose. I think I'm more trying to get a feel for the style than anything else. You know, I feel like that might be a better use of my time than trying to like, you know, freak out might not be the right word. Sweat the details over the pose and everything. I feel like if I just execute it, that'll be pretty good. My head needs to be wider though. I will not budge on that. Yeah. There we go. And naturally we have to include Rice Beast or else they'll bite me. I don't think I've ever established how big Rice Beast is supposed to be. I think like they're a very variable size. You know, it's kind of a more big as needed kind of thing. Definitely they're like about the size of my head, more or less, but besides that, I don't think I have like a definite kind of size in mind for a Rice Beast. They're big enough to bite me. That's kind of like the general rule. I love them, the baby carrier. Yeah. That was so much fun to draw, actually. I really enjoy. I'm glad you caught that detail. I had a lot of fun drawing that. The little baby Bjorn Rice Beast. Yeah, I think that idea. I think originally, like, the idea was that somebody would carry me in a baby Bjorn. Like, I remember the idea of like me as being with like associated with baby Bjorns happening in the server that we have, and I don't know when that somehow that morphed to me being in a baby Bjorn, but I thought it'd be funnier if Rice Beast wasn't one of those. God. It is funny though. I like it. I am glad somebody got that. Alright. Now, drawing my signature on my shirt will be an absolutely Herculean task in this instance. You in the high chair. Right, I remember that. I do remember that picture. I hope, yeah. I'm just sitting there very tidy, like. Yeah, theoretically speaking, my rice form could probably sleep in one of those, like, race car beds that are made for kids. If you think about it, that's definitely a benefit that I should take advantage of if I have the opportunity. Because honestly, who doesn't want to sleep in a race car from time to time? You know, I feel like that should be. I think like Maslow forgot one of those needs in his pyramid. There we go. I should drink some water. Okay, I think that's good for like a sketch layer. So let's add a new layer. Lower the opacity of this one. And okay, so we can get started on the actual like layer here. You look like you're telling them to go bite someone. Sick 'em, Rice Beast. God. I feel like there's definitely like, if I ever made a cartoon about myself, it would definitely be me trying to tell a rice beast to sick someone, but like they misinterpret the command and then they start biting me instead. I feel like I would make a fantastic, ineffectual children's cartoon villain. You know, like I'd be like a like. I don't know why, but I just feel like I would make a fantastic, ineffectual villain. I have enough hubris to make it funny, and enough of a never give up attitude to be a persistent threat. I choose you, Rice Beast. Rice Beast used Bite. It was super effective. Against Pabs. Like Team Rocket? Exactly like Team Rocket. To protect the world from devastation. To unite all evils within our nation. I forgot the Team Rocket motto. Let me look that up so I can perform it real quick. Prepare for trouble, and make it double. To protect the world from devastation. To unite all peoples within our nation. To denounce the evils of truth and love. To extend our reach to the stars above. Pabs, Rice Beast. Team Rocket blasts off at the speed of light. Surrender now or prepare to fight. Meowth, that's right. One of the best works of literature of our time, honestly. I need to be careful because, like, whenever I like abstract it too much, this part up here, it either looks like it's just like one smooth object, or it looks like bits of my brain are sticking out, which is unpleasant to say the least. You know, I don't like having... You know, it's bad enough when you have exposed nerve endings in your teeth. Now imagine if that was with your brain. It's like a 24/7 headache. Thankfully, my rice isn't like brain matter, if that makes sense. As the one who makes all my lore, I'm allowed to say that the rice isn't actually my brain. It's just kind of like what's in my head. I'm not sure where my brain is, you know. I probably have a brain somewhere. You know, it might be in a storage unit somewhere. Would the rice in your head have nerves? Nah, it's just rice, I think. I don't know how... Listen, 90% of the world building for my lore is based on the question, would it be funnier if this was true? And I think that having nerve endings in my rice would just make it weird. And like, I remember there was that one cartoon called like Friends or something. Like you're like a beetle. You're like a beetle car. It's in your bum. That would explain why I'm such a smartass. Eh? Like a beetle car. Yeah. I got that fucking electric car brain. I don't know how to call it. Configuration. That electric car brain configuration. It's all in the trunk. The front part is empty for extra crumple space. Yeah, I gotta say though, like, I don't know when exactly it happened, but Pokemon very subtly shifted from... I think it was sometime around the era of, like, Pokemon Go, when that first came out. When, like, the general fashion sense in Pokemon was just, like... I don't know, like, when it shifted from, like, having, like, normal-ish clothes to just, like, being, like, the most interesting and likely impractical athletic wear you've seen in your life. I think like actually like Sword and Shield like really exemplify the Sword and Shield really exemplify this because, you know, you have like Raihan's friggin' what do you call Puff Up Hoodie, like it's not even a pop-up hoodie, it's like a jacket with a vest. And that looks like it would itch awfully. Not even getting started on fucking Leon's goddamn gamer chair ass cape. But yeah, they switch to silly little goofy clothes at some point. I will say though, sometimes they're like, you can pick souls. Hey, how you doing? Welcome to stream. I love Leon, but that man is a mess. He's got a good heart, God bless him, but like he's not doing great. And you? I am doing just fine. Thank you for asking. Yeah, we're making a little bit of pixel art of myself based on Game Boy Color era Pokemon sprites, which is how we got on the topic to begin with. Yeah, no, I love Leon. I really do. I think he's a great guy. I've never played Sword and Shield, but I like Leon. You know, I like the cut of that young man's jib. I really do think it's funny though. Like, I think I forgot how old he's supposed to be, but I do think he's basically like young adult-ish. I don't remember like if they had. I mean, it's not like they have like a maximum age for gym trainers, because I mean, like Melanie's there. I know there's a bunch of like, I mean, like even in Gen 1 there was the friggin' that really weird old bald guy who was like with the fire type gym leader, Blaine, I think his name was. So I don't think it's like a hard and fast rule that there's like they have to be like young. But I do remember Leon like not being very old at all, which I think is hilarious. Early 20s, but they never really say, yeah, no. That's kind of what I figured. But yeah, I think it's funny that, like, you know, like Leon is just like beating up middle schoolers in this Pokemon League with his Charizard. And he's my age. That's like a dude who picks fights with high schoolers because he knows he can beat them. I gotta say though, like the more I depart from high school, the more I realize just how fucking huge high schoolers are these days. Like I live like near 2 high schools, so I often get to see like kids go, you know, on the weekdays and on the weekends. I see kids fucking going to and from my street that are high school age, and I can tell they're high school age because they have like backpacks and everything. And some of the boys are fucking enormous. Like some of them could they don't even dwarf my rice form; they dwarf my human form. What are they feeding these kids? I don't know when the school lunches started to fucking slip creatine in there, but good for them, I guess. Although I guess that's kind of like a general trend, right? Like every generation, people get a little bit taller. You know, like I'm taller than my parents. Technically, I'm more taller than my older brother. Ha-cha-cha. But I think that's just kind of like a generational trend more than anything. You know, people get a little taller every year. I know people in like the 1800s or whatever were friggin' tiny. Yeah, there's like this manga, right, of this girl who gets sent back in time to medieval Japan, like just like when they were just starting to import firearms and such from the Dutch. And she notes that she kind of dwarfs everybody in her era, even the men, because she's just like from an era where people are better nourished. So she's just humongous. Am I going to draw this other shoe? I should drink some water. Yeah, that's a really good manga, by the way. I learned that apparently, fun rice-related fact, apparently you can put like rice seeds in a ratio of 1 to 16 water to salt, and what'll happen is that the seeds that have like better growth potential will sink down to the bottom, while the ones which aren't very good will float to the top. And that's kind of determined by the amount of germ inside of the seed. So the seeds with the heavier germ, which is, say, like the higher amount of nutrients in them, which will grow better, are heavier, slightly heavier. So they'll sink, while the ones which don't have that much nutrient in them and thus will not grow as well will float. I thought that was super cool. It's always really counterintuitive. It always feels really counterintuitive whenever, like, an to me at least, being a city slicker born and bred, I always find it fascinating whenever, like, agriculture involves salt water in some way, because, natural instincts say salt and plant do not mix. In terms of growing it, I mean, like, salt and plant together in meals equals tasty, yum yum. But as it is, you don't really kind of think to try to combine those two together, but it has its uses, and I always find that super fascinating. Okay, there we go. I am struggling so hard with this leg. I'll get it eventually, though. I think with these next couple of strokes, I'll get it. I've mentioned before that with the vector layers in Clip Studio Paint, a lot of the times it doesn't really feel like I'm drawing. It feels more like I'm building something. And I think that's also true in pixel art. I feel like I'm more kind of blocking stuff out little by little. I'm trying to use shapes to my advantage more. I think that's something that I could try to learn from and use in my normal illustrations, and not just in pixel art. It's always fun when you can, like, apply a principle from one thing to another thing. It doesn't always work naturally, you can't. Not everything is universal like that. But there are some, and I mentioned it before even, that, like, pixel art has so many unique quirks that it's very hard to translate, normal illustrational skills into pixel art. Yeah. I do know that, like, the reason that a lot of indie games, especially, in the early days when indie games weren't like a whole industry, that's something that I've noticed. It's like nowadays indie games feel almost like an industry, because you can't really get something off the ground unless you have, like, a bunch of media coverage, and that takes money, or a huge grassroots movement, which you would have to have influence for already. So what I found is that, like, a lot of indie games from way back in the day, so like RPG Maker horror games, for example, would be one of my go-to examples. A lot of the games from that era were made in pixel art, because, with the abstraction of it all, I think it's easier to animate. And, maybe it was some technological limitations as well, because if you're a single person, right, with a dream, potentially, of making a game, you might not have access to all, like, even back then, you didn't have access to stuff like Unity or kind of, like, more upscale, how should I say this, like, game-making engines. So, it was basically like RPG Maker, or even like Wolf RPG or something like that. I think it's called, like, Wolf RPG. I don't remember. I remember there was one that was free called, like, Wolf or something Game Maker. So let me look it up real quick. Yeah, Wolf RPG Editor. Yeah, a game construction tool that can create complex role-playing games. Yeah. I think Mad Father was made in Wolf RPG Editor. I don't remember too well. It's been a while since I've brushed up on my RPG horror maker, RPG horror maker, RPG maker horror game trivia. I feel like I should play one of those games for stream in October. I've always wanted to play Ebe. I remember hearing that like a remake of Ebe was coming out. I don't know if that got like through yet, but I don't. If it did, I'm definitely gonna try and play that during Halloween or sometime in October. Yeah, there's something just so fascinating about RPG horror maker games. I think a lot of it lies in that very concept of abstraction, because when you can't see what's happening in detail, right? It just kind of like you kind of have to fill in the gaps yourself, and it also helps out a lot of the, you know, how do I put this? There seems to be an obsession recently in horror and just in general of needing to over-explain every little detail. So, you have like an entire YouTube channel careers made out of explaining the endings of movies or explaining the kind of logic behind a horror film or something like that. It's like an industry now. And it's an obsession. It's like, it's the need to understand more about it. And while that's certainly fine, I myself love getting stuff explained to me at length. I will sit down and watch that friggin' iCarly 5-hour long deep dive into the series. God bless the man who did that, by the way. I would sit my ass down and watch that, no problem. But I do think it also takes something out of the equation, so to speak, because when you have that kind of need to understand everything, a lot of it is almost like ruined is a strong word, but it's certainly one that I would use because, what would you, like, I think honestly the trend probably started sometime with like Five Nights at Freddy's or something like that. I feel like that's kind of like when the kind of trend of horror games having like huge lore that fans could like really deep dive into began. It's definitely not the first game to do it. It just kind of like popularized the idea that every freaking horror game needs to have like some in-depth explanation available for every little thing. So so Silent Hill is an example that comes to mind. Silent Hill 2, in particular, Silent Hill is a horror series where every single enemy is a manifestation of the character that you're playing as his psyche. So, I don't know. I'm not too familiar with Silent Hill, to be perfectly honest, but that's what I understood from a lot of what I saw about the series, right? So you have that explanation, you have the explanation that, oh yeah, it's kind of based on the trauma, the inner emotions, the inner demons of the characters in the game. These enemies, these locations, though, these distortions of reality. And you kind of like hear that and you go, oh neat, that's cool. So I wonder what like each thing represents. And you can make your own kind of guesstimates, but like a lot of the questions that arose from that ultimately went unanswered because it's more interesting that way. That's what I think one of the like strengths are of like, or not even the strength. I think that's the charm of, kind of poorly translated RPG Maker games, because, you have the idea, you have like a preconceived notion of how everything should work. But there's like something like, it's something between like the language barrier and the translation of it. The fact that whoever is writing it is likely an amateur in all, I say this with love, likely an amateur writer. And, that doesn't necessarily mean that they can't make something meaningful at all. That does not preclude them whatsoever from that. But what I am saying is that it kind of like, as an amateur writer, you're more likely to make errors or, kind of like sentences that aren't easy to understand even with translation. So that creates a lot of like misunderstanding, lack of clarity that I think kind of drives me nuts, that in a positive way. So one example is, from Eve. I watched a playthrough of Eve. I know the plot of Eve. I know the spoilers and everything. But, there's a lot of like different little bits and pieces that you go like, hey, what the super fuck was that? In the game. And you never really get a concrete answer beyond it's a world made of paintings. Deal with it. It's magic bullshit. Let it haunt your nightmares forevermore. And that's kind of the only explanation you really get. And I think that's such a tremendous move, honestly, because when that happens, you have more of an ability to fill in the blanks for yourself. And when done well, when you're left to fill in the blanks, sometimes it can get very annoying. But sometimes, when done well, it makes it a much more thrilling and visceral experience, because you kind of have to, your imagination can trump whatever they can reasonably depict. If it exists only within your mind, it is a perfect kind of construct. Meanwhile, if they try to depict it, no matter how shocking or gory or violent it is, it will fall short of someone's expectations. But if you leave it up to their imagination, then there's no such problem. That's what I like about like older RPG Maker games. It's a combination of multiple factors, obviously, but that's one of the things that I like about them. I think that's one of the reasons that Yume Nikki, for example, had like such enduring popularity, because like, there's no none of the typical bullshit like, oh my god, there was like this car door hook hand man. Oh. There's none of that. It's just you're this girl who lives in an apartment by herself, who very clearly doesn't have much of a life. You have dreams as her. This is what you see in her dreams. Have fun interpreting that for the rest of your life. Yeah, I really respect that. It's not even that I necessarily enjoy it, because, I'm someone who's extremely curious, so whenever I don't have my curiosity satisfied, it's a little frustrating. But I respect that immensely as a creator move. I should drink some water. Anyway, I think we're done with the line art here. This shoe on the left is bothering me a little bit. Let me try and fix that a little bit. And then move it left. Okay. So now we're gonna start coloring. Yeah, remember, we're limited to like 3 colors max. So this is gonna be quite an interesting move. Is there a way to do like lasso fill? I don't think there is. I mean, I could just like... no. So I think it's either going to be on the same layer or... Yeah, I think it's probably going to be on the same layer. Why not? I'm allowed. I can do a little chaos sometimes. Yeah. Recently at work, I've been paired with a I've been put on a project with someone who started later than I did, so I'm still relatively new to my own job. You know what I should do? I should copy and paste this so I don't lose the original line art. That's what I should do. Big rice brain. Alright, let's try this again. Alright, so first of all, delete this blank layer. Duplicate this layer. And there we go. Anyway, I still consider myself relatively new at my own job, workplace. But there are people who joined after I did. You know, it's growing pretty rapidly, so that tends to happen. So I've been put on a project with this person who started later than me, and it's really funny that they kind of like treat me as a source of answers. I do manage to like give them good answers most of the time, but I find it really funny how like I don't know how to put it, like it's kind of funny seeing how confused somebody is about the job from the outside. You know, like from the outside looking in comparatively, because every single time they ask a question, I'm like, huh, you know, I was there a little while ago. Like, I didn't say that out loud because I don't want to discourage them or anything, but, you know, I think to myself, that was what I was like not even 3 months ago. And it's really funny to me. Okay. Let me try something here. So I'm going to select this inside of rice piece, and I'm going to add a... Hang on. Layer matrix. Okay, I need to swap out this color for the other color here for white. Let's see here. Okay, interesting, interesting. Okay, I think I've got an idea for how I'm gonna shade this now. Sometimes you really do just need like a push in the right direction. I do wonder though how like pixel art was made before, you know. I'm really curious as to how they made older pixel art, because I'm not. I don't know what kind of art programs they would have used. I don't know if there were even art programs. Like, did they just literally code the pixels into being in like a specific place? Is that how it worked? I've always been really curious about that, because, you know, past a certain point, you just don't have the computing power to do the kinds of things we can do today. You know, nowadays, any old jerk, present company not included, can, you know, just buy a sprite and start making pixel art. But I don't think there were like pixel art programs back in the day. So I wonder how they managed to pull those things off. I wonder if that same thing would work with the inside of the shirt here for like contrast. Oh, there's an idea. You know, since all this green is kind of intense, why not like? Hang on, I've got an idea. I've got a good idea. It's just gonna take a second to execute. All right, where's the subtract from selection? Here we go. Oh yeah. I don't know why, but recently I've gotten that "Do you believe in love?" song stuck in my head. No idea why. I'm not from the generation that song was from. But I don't know why I've had it stuck in my head all day. I think I might have heard it by accident at some point during the weekend, but that still wouldn't explain why it's been stuck in my head. At least I don't think. Okay, now I'm gonna select this arm here. I'm gonna deselect this part here. And then kind of do the same thing for this arm over here. Alright, this is already kind of a look, if I may say so myself. I think like a pixelated gradient hoodie would actually kind of rip. However, we are not finished. Alright, then we kind of go in the opposite direction. No, now I feel like this is a Splatoon character. I had something, but this is not it. On the other hand, what if I selected okay, so let's pretend for a second that I selected this pink here on my hoodie. And let's pretend for another second that I were to subtract that selection from Rice Peas so I don't get them in the crossfire. Now, could I, theoretically, use the fill tool for this? No, okay, so edit, fill. Oh, there we go. Oh, it also turned the inside of my mouth green. That's kind of cool, actually. Alright. I think I have an idea for how to do this. I think I have an idea for how to make this really cool, but we're gonna have to go back a couple of steps, unfortunately. Delicious water. Okay. So, same idea. Mainly selecting the hoodie so that we don't end up like... So the idea is to make the sections where light would be hitting white. So then it's kind of like that negative space that creates a green. I'm not sure if I'm communicating it super well. I'm putting it in terms that my brain remembers vaguely. I think negative space is the best way to describe it, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, then we can just kind of keep peppering little bits of pixel here and there. And then over here too. Then here too, I think. That might be the last part where I do it. I don't know, wasn't there like some kind of tool for this? Spray 16, maybe 2? Nah. Spray speed, much lower. Spray amount, higher. That might be it. No, I'm gonna spray a little bit back on there. A little bit back with the green. Nah. The idea is there. The idea is definitely there. But I think the answer is either we need more white or something else. I'm not sure what the answer is. What the answer would be in this case. So I think what I'm going to try and do is kind of fill in all these little white pixels here. Then maybe try a gradient with the white instead of the green. I think that might be the right answer. I like this part here on the hood though. I'm going to keep that. But I'm going to need to try again with a lot of the other ones. But yeah, I think using myself as a source, narcissistic though it may appear, was a pretty good call for this one because I kind of wanted to, having a simple thing to work off of for this thing, for this kind of experimentation style, I think helps a lot with taking the pressure off of me particularly because I don't take myself too seriously. If that sounds like a put down, I swear it isn't. I like myself, but I don't take myself too seriously. Or at least I try not to. Sometimes varied results, you know how it is. But I try not to take myself too seriously. So whenever I can use that to my advantage, to experiment with a style I haven't used before, I like to try it out, I think it takes a lot of the pressure off of me because, if I was making like an OC or something with this, I feel like I would definitely feel the pressure a lot more than if, I'm just doing my goofy little VTuber persona. I've tricked my brain into taking it easy, and therefore it created better results. I like to think that my brain and I are like on pretty good terms most of the time, but there are times where I do have to coax it like some kind of wild horse. You can lead a brain to water, but you can't make it drink. Alright, and then we can just subtract these few little pixels here, and we should be good to start with the gradient. Yeah, I think that's okay. I think that's decent. I think the answer was in the end to add more white to the mix because I feel like that gives it a little something. And I can use this kind of pinkish shade for my head here. Let me take a look at this. Maybe there's like a lighter one. Bayer Matrix 8x8. No? What about no dithering? Oh no, I hate how that looks. No, I like it crunchier, thank you very much. No, that's a bit much. Okay, that I think is about as good as we're gonna get it. Then I can use a little one of these extras to kind of make my the little top flap of the sack. Something about this doesn't feel right. I think what I need to do is actually, like, remove the shading up here. No, I don't think I don't think I need to think about it too hard. I think if I just have to, like, drop off there, I think it should be fine. However, for the little part up top here, I am going to add, like, little bits and pieces here and there to kind of show off the fact that it's supposed to be rice. Although making the shading pink will also make it look like a brain. Well, you just can't win sometimes. Unless I try to use the green here, but again, I feel like that's just gonna end up looking like a Splatoon character. Green rice, why not? From the people that brought you green eggs and ham, we now bring you green rice. You hated the ham so much, so we decided to make it out of spite. How do you like them apples? I don't know, does that look like... No, that doesn't look like rice at all. Yeah, no, I do think it needs to be pink, though. Unfortunately, for my exposed brain matter, I don't think I'd really have an option. The green just does not work well. Okay. Trying to figure out what kind of... Like, I think the issue that I have is that I made all the colors too bright. I think I made them too saturated, because if you, again, kind of referring back to the Pokemon sprite sheet here, if you look at that, you know, with some of... No, because some of them are pretty bright. It's just like, they don't have as much contrast, I think. Okay. Let's try something different then. No. Rather, let's try to keep at it, and then we can work a little bit on color, and all that. Okay, so right off the bat, I'm thinking... I am thinking of making, like, a gradient for this. Oops. No, I just made my legs smaller. I didn't mean to do that. Also, please don't make my legs smaller. I can't afford to lose any more height. Alright, I'm already so tiny. I have so much trouble reaching the top shelf. Please, at this point, people are going to be able to carry me around in their pockets, and while that is an adorable image, it's not nearly as comfortable as it sounds. Oops. What did I just do? Whatever. In any case. I think just a little bit of dithering down here to show that, like, I've cuffed my jeans. Kind of like that. It kind of looks like I'm wearing like rave pants. You know, I feel like I should be tweaking it to, I don't know. I don't know a whole lot of like rave musicians. I know Searle, but that's mainly because of his earlier work. He still puts out good stuff though. I do like his more recent stuff still, but you know, I think a lot of people know him from like the early days of like the internet. Yeah, I definitely used way too many bright colors, but I do have good news. Okay, so first we can color mode. Hang on. Sprite size, canvas size, properties, more options. Sprite color mode indexed. Oop. No, that's not right. Edit. Place color adjustments. Oh wait, adjustments might be the what I need here. So lower the saturation of the... Nah. Ooh, I kind of like that. Okay, I'm really a fan of this color palette. But that's not quite what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do... oh wait, I think it might be here. Okay, so palette size... new palette from Sprite, here we go. There we go. Perfect. Okay, now what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try to... I'm going to try to load a... Whoop. You didn't see that. There is a way to, like, do an index color palette. Yeah, presets. Here we go. So... Hang on. Oh yeah, like this, for example. What ends up happening is that because of the placement of these, what do you call it? The placement of these palettes, what ends up happening is that the first four in these rows will always become like my color palettes. So let's kind of like take a look around here. I remember Copper Tech is actually kind of interesting, but you know, as a color palette. But let's try to look around. What's this one? Nix 8. Remap. No. What's Bubblegum 16? Why do all of these like end up making me lose the entire half of my lower body? Web save colors. Oh my god, I'm so banana colored. Okay, why do they keep vanishing my entire body? This is against regulations, I tell ya. Okay, here we go. This is a little better. Never mind. Okay, how about... Eroge Copper. Yeah, there we go. Now we can try to figure out the hues a little better. Luminosity, increase that. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. This one, I'm kind of partial to this one, honestly. All of these are really good. Let's try to fix the original, though. Yeah, there's way too many harsh colors in this. Okay, here we go. Bumping up the luminosity helped a little bit. Saturation, if we increase that, it's eventually going to offset itself, so... Oh, hang on. Okay, and then I can just add a little bit of extra black here with the spray one. No, wait, put back the colors. I need those. Wasn't there like a proper like dithering brush? Jumble tool, blur tool. It might have been the jumble tool. Hey, no, that's not right. There needs to be like a dithering brush here. And I think there is actually. Shading. Is this the one? How about no, that's not right. Wait, select colors in the palette. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so there is no like auto dithering, but there is a kind of auto shading thing you can do. That's interesting. I didn't know you could do that. Game Boy Color Pabs. Yeah, hey Butter, how's it going? Yeah, no, that's actually exactly what I was going for actually. So I'm very happy that you got that connection. Yeah, I based this off of the Game Boy Color sprites for Pokemon. So I'm happy somebody made the connection for that. Thank you. That made my day. Okay. Then over here. Perfect. No, it looks weird if there's no shading here. Perfect, okay. There we go. Alright, I'm gonna like tab out of Ace Sprite for a second on the working screen because Ace Sprite has this weird habit of basically wanting to dox me so bad. And that's not really great for me. So Pabs GBC. Yeah. Well, no, it's not really doxing. It just kind of like shows more information than I'm comfortable sharing. But yeah, now that we have like the basic palette down, I can just kind of like mess around with like the actual colors on this thing, which is fun. The AAP Splendor 128. Ooh, baby. Okay, I forgot how you have to like do this. Okay, I'm gonna move the pale one to the back. That way, when I load these guys up... No, wait, I'd have to set it as... Hang on, sprite. Okay, save. Sprite. No, put this back here. Back here. Oh, come on now. This is bullying. Oh, wait, no, I think I understand now. Okay, hang on. Okay, so let's say Okay, so sprite, color mode, more options. Oy. Alright, hang on. Color options, indexed. What in the sweet and sour? Okay, I need to figure this out or else it's gonna bug me for life. Okay. Weird vibe on these. Okay, so first of all, sprite. Oh, it's probably because... Okay, hang on. I think I need to redo the palette. New palette from Sprite. Here we go. There we go. Now it should be much more useful. Alright, let's try this one. I forgot to index this sucker, hang on. We'll get there eventually, we'll get there. Okay, remap. Okay, interesting, but I'm not in love with it. Also, because a lot of these don't have the, what do you call it, the blank feature, I think what I'm gonna have to do is maybe give myself a background to work with. So let's try and do that. Right after I take a sip of water. Okay. So, background for the Pablo. What color would be good? I kind of like this one. This kind of like Baja Blastish color. That's not Baja Blastish. Oh, I'm still in like the index color mode. Hang on. There we go. I like this bluish one. That's interesting. Saturation a little higher. Okay, cool. Okay. Now let's try and do this properly. Okay. Okay, how about this one? Yeah, there we go. Oh, hey, there's a Minecraft color palette. Oh, so this one has a transparent one. For goodness sake. You just can't win. How about Rosie42? Oh, that's so nice and warm. I like that. Alright, let me export that one. File, export. It was very considerate of the people who made a sprite to make it auto, to have like one of the export presets be 1000%, because they just kind of understood that if you made a sprite that's like 50 by 50, you'd at least want that much of a bump up in size. Okay, let's see. What's the one on the bottom? ZXC Spectrum. Oh, that is really crunchy. That is some... That is like this... Okay, that last one that I flashed to was disappointingly gray. Bubblegum 16. Let's try Bubblegum 16. Ah, my eyes! This looks like I'm taking fire damage in a Kirby game. Edge 32, how about that? I like that one. That one I like. And I'm whinging and whining a lot for somebody who, you know, I feel like I'm not properly like appreciating the amount of technology that goes into this. Burnt rice. Exactly. Okay. Put this back. Alright, let's see DB32. They made 32 Dragon Balls? Actually, by now they've probably made like more than 32 Dragon Ball. Google UI. Hey, that's pretty... Okay, that's pretty close actually. I'm impressed. Alright, let's see what else there is. Oh, Virtual Boy, here we go. Exactly as eye-searing as the original. That's exciting. Oh, Game Boy Color Type 1, here we go. Okay, the background leaves a lot to be desired, but the main colors are pretty much spot on. Hang on, let me try and figure out what color this should be. Okay, so this one I am going to change for... How do I reassign a palette value? Because that is starting to really burn my eyes. Oh wait, I can just select one of these and paste it as the palette. Boom. Yeah, I'm very pleased that came out so so faithful to the what I made. All right, bring that back. Oops. All right, maybe one more and then we. I think one more and then we call it a night. Okay, tags. Let's try that. Kind of funky, but I'm not in love with it. What's EN4? There's so few colors on this palette that they have to make me transparent for a lot of it. Oh, Game Boy. Okay, if I just remove this from the palette, if I remove these two from the palette, oops, never mind. That causes some kind of catastrophic loss. Okay, what about... Okay, no, that's also not going to work. Oh, wait, I know how to do this. Okay, so color mode, RGB color, delete this, and then color mode indexed. No, that's not how that goes. Okay. Alright, new palette from sprite. Replace current palette 5 colors. No, wrong. Okay. How do we do this? You have made yourself very clear. I believe I've made myself... Hang on. Hang on. Ah, whatever. Come on. Come on. Let me do the bit. This is a lot of setup for a joke that's not even that funny. If I can be perfectly clear... God damn it! No, the one time I try to set up a bit... I like how when I try to do, like, improv comedy, things go my way very easily, but whenever I try to, like, steer outside of my comedy wheelhouse, it kind of goes all wibbly-wobbly. But yeah, that was a good joke, Butter. Okay, Rosie42. Let's try that. I think I already did this one, actually. Hang on. Alright, Commodore Tech. Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it. Okay, and make sure that did I export the original just in case? No, I did not. Alright, let me fix that right now. I'll call it Pabs GBZ0 because I am hip like that. Alright. I think that's pretty good for today, honestly. I didn't intend to make this a particularly long stream. I try to stream kind of short on the weekdays because I gotta reserve my energy for important adult tasks. But I had a lot of fun with this. I think I'm definitely going to try this again, maybe with one of my OCs. But it feels good. It feels interesting to make sprites like this. It feels like it's definitely working the ingenuity a little bit. I'm going to get better as I keep trying to, you know, improve, but I'm happy with the results for today. We got 3 viewers, so let's see if there's anybody available to rate. I think V is doing superhero time right now. So let's go and say hi. Oh, she might have wrapped up that because I see it's just chatting. Video creator dashboard. Here we go. All right. I hope you all had a great time. I will be doing some more streams this week if I can get a look at my desktop so I can see what I'm actually streaming. On Thursday, I'll be picking up where I left off with the Live 2D modeling. If that starts to piss me off, I'll probably just do an illustration because I found that I'll figure it out as I go along. On Friday, I'll be playing House Flipper, which is going to be cool. I'm really looking forward to that game. And this Saturday, I am going to rework some of my emotes so that they look nice and pretty. Alright, with that said, I will send you all off. Have a good night and enjoy your week. Bye.